Today, we're going to talk about alcohol and we're going to relate that to sleep. So, first of all, my thoughts on alcohol, just so everybody knows, you should be able to enjoy it. One of the first things I have people say to me when they start with me is, I guess I have to stop drinking, don't I? My first response is, why? Everybody has this idea that you have to stop drinking. You got to have these healthy habits. It's time to start things over. I like to feel good the next day. So my drinking stays at a minimum. Every now and then I overdo it a little bit, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Just so you know, you can lose weight and drink. You absolutely can. At least one expert I know on longevity, the guy that studies the blue zones, he says a lot of those guys that live into their later years, they have some wine. It's just a certain type of wine. It has high phenols and it keeps them healthy, but they just don't overdo it. When I post COVID, when COVID hit, at first, when all the gyms shut down, 2020, everything was, the world was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? COVID's here. I got furloughed from my job. I had to sit around. I got paid to sit around and do nothing. Alcohol was accessible. So I just drank beer, gained some weight. I think we all did. And then when I was cutting back down, I did a little experiment. I decided to experiment with alcohol and weight loss. And I just worked it into my macros. It was beer, that like the killer of losing weight and a six pack, right? So I incorporated 4 beers, Blue Moons with a squeeze of a clementine. It's a great way to drink a Blue Moon. And I had 4 a night on purpose every night and dropped about 20 pounds just to prove that you could. I just worked it into my macros. I counted the calories. I made sure my calories were in a bit of a deficit, getting enough protein, and I dropped down. I lost 20 pounds while having 4 blue moons a night with a little clementine juice in them. So it can be done. You can have your wine. You don't need to quit everything that makes you happy. And I swear there's some missing stuff to alcohol and strength that we haven't quite discovered yet. I know a lot of everything that's studied says, no, absolutely not. But there's too many people that say, I got wasted yesterday and I just PR'd today, personal record. I think there's something there that we haven't quite caught onto. I believe there's undiscovered stuff there. Let's move on to sleep. What alcohol does do to your sleep pattern is it disrupts it heavily. Alcohol is a depressant. Of course, once it leaves your system, it's a stimulant. This comes from Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep, which is one of the most interesting, well-written books I've ever read. And it's on something that sounds incredibly boring, right? Sleep, but it's so interesting. All the studies in there. He talks about how alcohol is a depressant, but when it's metabolized and it's out, you're not drunk anymore and it's not even detectable. It's a stimulant. That's why you wake up, because there's a stimulant in your body now. That's why we wake up, and it disrupts your sleep pattern. It makes it so you don't get a full restorative night of sleep. Even one drink close to bedtime can disrupt your sleep. I choose most nights not to drink just for that reason, especially once you read all of the studies that he has in that book. They will floor you on sleeping and what goes wrong and what goes right when you get 7 to 8 hours of high quality sleep, not just sedation, like you took something like an Ambien that puts you to sleep, but actual natural high quality restorative sleep. To name a couple, one that's really interesting, beauty sleep, right? They took a group of people and they had them look at 2 pictures of a person doing the exact same pose. And what they didn't know was, in one of the pictures, same person, in one of the pictures, they got 8 hours of sleep. In the other one, the next day, they woke them up after 4 hours, let them put on the makeup, do whatever, same exact pose. Which one looks better? They always picked the one where they got high quality restorative sleep. You look better. There's something that happens with your body where there's processes that happen only when you're in a deep sleep that get rid of toxins in your body and clean you out, and you look better. So beauty sleep is actually a thing. Another study he talks about was about blood sugar. So they took all these young, healthy people. They had no occurrence of diabetes whatsoever, no high blood sugar, nothing. Let them get 7 to 8 hours of sleep for a week, check the blood sugar, everything's normal, people are healthy. Then they cut them off after 4 hours every night for about a week straight, woke them up after 4 hours, made them stay up for the whole day, no napping, nothing. back to bed at nighttime, wake you up after 4 hours. In a week, I believe there were a bunch of 20 something year olds. The entire group was pre diabetic. There's certain processes that happen when you sleep that are supposed to be taking care of things. Your body can't do it with not getting enough high quality sleep. It can turn somebody into a freaking diabetic. That's insane. That's insane. Another study, your hormone levels. He starts a lot of his lectures off this way. He starts talking about hormones and he basically says, I think a healthy male's testosterone will be 23% lower if he gets 6 hours of sleep versus someone that gets regularly 8 hours of sleep, and it will cause hypogonadism. So all these guys that gloat about like, I only need 6 hours, bro, and then I get up and I'm off to it. All of a sudden they're all, oh, nope, I get 8 hours for sure. I totally get 8 hours. So it changes everyone's vibe real quick when he gives you information like that. The last one, immune function. So the last one, your immune system, I want to say is like working at 30% capacity when you get 4 hours of sleep. It's something ridiculous. It's not even close to what it could be. We talk about catching everything. Some people just catch everything. They're probably not sleeping well. Their immune system is probably tanked. You catch so many more things, you catch so many more colds and be out so much more if, again, you don't just get sleep, but high quality sleep. So alcohol can really have an effect on that. It can block it. But again, you can have a few drinks, maybe Friday night, Saturday night, go to our favorite restaurant, try a couple of the craft beers. You can drink your alcohol if you want, but sleep is vital. And most nights, even sometimes on Friday or Saturday night, I would rather get 8 hours of high quality restorative sleep than have a couple beers. You should really pick up a copy of Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Those studies will scare anybody into sleeping and into sleeping well. And if you want to get high quality sleep, some tips for that. Going to bed at the same time every night is absolutely huge. If you do that, your body starts to get used to it. It's almost like you're training your body to go to sleep at the same time every night. As you practice this, your body starts to wake up at a certain time. You should allow yourself 8 hours of sleep opportunity, is how he puts it. So you're going to bed, everything's off. You got yourself ready before that. Shut blue lights off. They block melatonin for 2 or 3 hours after you view them. So you don't want to be looking at your phone as you're going to sleep. But main thing, bed, same time every night. Your body begins to go into a deeper and deeper sleep over time and starts to wake up at a regular time. You don't even need an alarm clock eventually. Your body is just highly trained to go to bed at a certain time. So that would be really beneficial to a lot of people. If you want your body to, you want to meet your goals, you want to work out, you want to lose weight, you want to burn all the sugar in your body, that's going to be really important, is learning how to sleep really deep and learning how to sleep really well. Your alarm clock actually causes a little spike in blood pressure when it goes off. It's actually bad for your heart to be woken up like that, especially if you're hitting the snooze button. You just hurt your heart like 3 or 4 times in a row. So the more you can learn to go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time every night, eventually you won't even need an alarm clock. One last thing. It's so important that if you have cardiac issues, your heart becomes less stable when you lose a little bit of sleep. And there's a worldwide data sample every year where any country that does daylight savings, whenever you lose that hour, one calls for cardiac reasons, go up by 14 to 21% because a massive population just lost an hour. That's how much damage it can do. Just losing 1 hour. People went to bed at the same time and then lost an hour overnight and had to get up early. Anyone that was really sensitive to losing an hour really pays the price. And on the same token, there's a similar drop in cardiac events, 911 cardiac calls, when we gain an hour and people get that extra hour and get some restorative sleep. It shows just how important that minor of a difference, 1 hour, can make or break someone. So you should be going to bed to when you finally actually fall asleep. Go to bed with 8.5 hours till you have to get up. That way your sleep becomes better, hormones work better, immune system functions better, your body burns sugars more appropriately. It's just a really important thing to be able to do. Why We Sleep, Matthew Walker. Pick it up. It's a great book. And definitely be able to enjoy a glass of wine, a beer if you want, but do so sparingly. And notice how you feel every day when you get up, when you've had wine or beer versus not. All right. Till next time.